Puzzled and Chatty with me, Adam Gray, where I talk with people in the jigsaw and speed puzzling world and hear their stories and thoughts on this growing competitive activity and the puzzle community. In this episode, I sit down with one of Canada's newest speed puzzlers, which is due to her recently moving to Canada from the United Kingdom. Welcome, Kirsty Williams. We'll discuss her Worlds 2024 experience and how 11 seconds matter, her appearance on British morning television and showing the people of the UK how to speed puzzle, her transition into the Canadian puzzle community, and much more. So pull up a chair and pick a puzzle off the shelf to do while you listen to two people who are puzzled and chatty. Hi, Kirsty. Welcome. Thank you for joining me here.
Hello. Nice to be here.
Very excited. First non-Canadian, I guess, to appear on this puzzle cast. I think I'm going to do the puzzle cast is what I'm going to call this from now on.
I like puzzle.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's good that you are here. Thank you for joining me from Manitoba. So I'm also getting another province out of the way as well.
I was going to say, Manitoba isn't the non-Canadian part. It's the clearly British accent, but yeah.
Yes, that's not what people from Manitoba sound like. At least I don't think so. It would be funny if they did. If I was speaking with someone from Newfoundland, it would sound like I'm speaking with someone from Ireland-ish.
Yeah, that's fair.
You never know. So we'll just go straight into it. You are someone relatively new to Canadian speed puzzling, so just want to talk about how you got involved in doing puzzles.
So I feel like everyone's like, oh, I used to do puzzles as a baby, and I've always done them. I guess I did puzzles as a kid. I don't have any standout memories of I used to love doing puzzles as a kid. It's just something that I would have done, but I'm not hugely aware of. Really got into them in the first COVID lockdown. My best friend was living in London, I was living in Wales, and we were sort of posting each other 1,000-piece puzzles, just sort of checking in with how we were doing with them. She was doing some of them without the image. I was trying to see how fast I could do some of them. Went down some sort of internet rabbit hole and discovered that actually people do puzzles in Spain in a competition, and it's a thing. So I remember texting her about this and being like, mate, there's this puzzle competition in Spain. When the world stops being mental, we should totally go to that. Forgot all about it. And this was only 1,000-piece puzzles at the time, so just sort of casually slow puzzling them. We'd always have one on the go. Few years later, was at a sort of dinner and games party with my husband's work colleagues, and she had a huge, I think it was a 5,000-piece Disney puzzle on the go. Yeah. And I had a 3,000-piece puzzle on the dining table at our house from a charity shop. And so we were just chatting, and Craig was like, oh yeah, Kirsty loves puzzles, was talking to her about it, and she was saying that her and her sisters used to time each other doing puzzles when they went on holiday as a kid. And I was like, oh, I'm sure there's a world championships of that. And everyone just laughed at me. And I was like, no, this wasn't a COVID fever dream. This exists. This is a thing. So I'm in the corner, Googling this frantically. And I was like, right, okay, so it's in Spain and you've got to do a 500-piece Ravensburger puzzle in 90 minutes or less. I reckon I could do that. And they're all just shut up. And I was like, no. But, the next day was my day off work. So I was I'm going to go to a charity shop. I'm going to find a puzzle. And if I can do it in less than 90 minutes, I'm going to go to Spain in September and do the World Championships. And everyone's laughing. And then I went to a charity shop the next day and I got a 500-piece puzzle and I did it that night in 80 minutes. And so I was like, oh, now I've got to put my money where my mouth is. And that was January 2024. And that's where it all started for me, really.
So did you ended up going to Worlds that year, which we'll talk about in a bit, but did you do any competitions or anything before that, or was Worlds going to be your first competition?
So at the time, the UK it still has, a 1,000 piece competition in the summer in a place called Newmarket. And you have 3 hours. You can either do individual or like teams. You can do like pro or fun, but like everyone's puzzling at the same time. And yeah, it's a 1,000 piece Gibson jigsaw puzzle. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll go to that in June because, you know, I'm going to Spain. I better do some practice.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks before that competition, there were like a bunch of posts on the Facebook page. Like, I don't think they had enough volunteers, or there was like some problems with like the timings at the venue. And so it was uncertain as to whether if you didn't finish in the top 3, if you were allowed to finish your puzzle or not, or if it was like once the top 3 finished, it was just sort of like a pack up and go home. They were stopping recording times. Like, it was very confusing. And like, having volunteered now at Canadian Nationals, like, I understand how important it is to have volunteers and all of that. So completely understand it. But I was like, doing like 5-hour round trip, spending out money in a hotel and all of this to just sit and do half a puzzle. And then if I'm not fast enough, go home. So I didn't end up going to that. So yeah, Worlds 2024 was actually my first ever in-person virtual anything. It was my first ever competition.
Wow. So like, I spoke with other people where their first ever competition was Worlds. But I don't think I've spoken with someone that was, yes, people's first in-person was at Worlds, but I don't think I've ever spoken with someone who just first ever competition was Worlds. So you decided to go.
I didn't know the virtual competition. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
It wasn't until World that I found out that like virtual competitions were a thing. Like, I didn't know that they existed either.
Yeah, because the UK has a pretty strong virtual presence now, I think. I don't know if they did at the time. They're growing, similar to Canada. They're growing fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't know, that's the thing. If you don't know about any of this stuff, most of us just stumbled across it because of boredom during COVID, where some of us just, a lot of people just stumbled across things on YouTube, which I don't know how we all have similar algorithms, but we're all getting speed puzzling jigsaw stuff that shows up, which I don't know who's pushing that on YouTube, but it's paying off.
It's working.
So did you sign up to go to Worlds before you actually got to Spain?
Yes. So after I'd done this puzzle, I then did another 500 piece. It wasn't a Ravensburger, but it was another 500 piece puzzle. Did that one in under 90 minutes as well. And was sort of like, oh, and obviously I was in the UK at the time. So flights to Spain, like, relatively cheap. So I sort of like had a little bit of a look into it and was like, yeah, you know, like, I think this is affordable. Like, I can, you know, take a week's holiday from work. That's going to be okay. Looked at the dates, looked at everything. Had a chat with my husband. I was like, do you want to go on holiday to Spain so I can do jigsaws? He was like, absolutely not. Why would I want to sit in Spain and watch you do jigsaws? I can do that at home. So I was like, fair enough. And then I sort of put in my family WhatsApp group, like, so in a weird twist, I've decided that I'm going to go and do the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championships in September in Spain for a laugh. So, you know, that'll be fun. And a week or two later, my dad messaged back and he was like, yeah, I'll go with you. That'll be fun. I think he just wanted an excuse for a holiday, really. So yeah, so I signed up. Yeah, sort of. I think it was in the February I signed up and was like, yeah, I'm gonna, like, once I've signed up and like committed to it, I'm gonna do it. Like, there's no backing out. Like, so it was kind of, yeah, get my name down and then it's something to like work towards.
So you've not competed in anything. So you would have walked into the dome where they do the competition. The individual rounds always come first, or the qualification round does at least. What was it like walking into that dome and seeing an actual puzzle competition in front of you? It hasn't even started yet, but it's going to unfold and you're going to see, what's it like?
So a month or two maybe before we went, my dad had sent me a link to Karen Puzzles. So I'm the weird exception to the rule. Like, I didn't even find out about Karen Puzzles through my own puzzle research. My dad clued me into Karen Puzzles. So I'd watched her recap. So I had sort of like an awareness of what it would kind of look like. But so we got to Vidley the day before, I think, and we like had gone down, done a recce of the dome, so like walked around the outside, and I was like, it's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be. Like that was my first thing, was like, that's really small. How are they going to fit all those people in there? Like, second thought was, it's going to be really hot in there because it's really small. um, and then yeah, so we were there for so last year they had like an opening ceremony, and then one of the hosts did like a trivia night. So it was like mixed international teams. So basically it was just like find some people, sit down, do some trivia. It was in English and Spanish. It went on for about 2 hours. It melted your brain, but it was really, really good fun. And so that was kind of my first like in dome experience of just sort of like getting the lay of the land, like figuring out where the toilets were, like, and then yeah, the coming back in the next day, went over in the morning and watched the Guinness World Record attempts. That was really cool. Just yeah, sort of seeing everybody doing those. And then I think I'm in the same round this year, but I was in one of the evening individual rounds. So in the day, I'd done a practice puzzle in my hotel room just to, like get myself psyched up, get ready for it. I'd been watching some of the live streaming as well on the YouTube, so I could get a feel of sort of, what was going on, what images had already been used. And then, so yeah, walking in that evening, it was nerves. It was just like nerves and anxiety. Still like I'd met Liz, who's now my Canadian partner, the night before at trivia. Still hadn't met another puzzler from the UK. Like I was still just sort of going it alone. And yeah, walking in and like all of the tables are there. The bags are on the tables. Everyone's talking because the round before, some of the puzzles were the wrong puzzles, and is it going to happen again? And there was a lot going on, and it was just sort of, yeah, like very nervous, very anxious, but very excited as well. Just sort of reminding myself, like, you're just going to have fun. Like, whatever happens, you did this on a whim for a laugh. You're just here to have fun, so just enjoy it. So yeah, it's good. It's a good time.
I remember watching the mistake puzzles with it, and the fact one of them happened to Karen puzzles,
And
I don't think
lob the box at her.
yeah, I don't think that's the worst case scenario for them. The most watched speed puzzler online is the one that gets the mistake. Like,
Yeah.
you can almost guarantee that's going to be checked so many times this year
Oh yes.
because of that. But yeah, I don't know what would happen. So you kind of mentioned that you're there just kind of have fun and see how it goes. But did you have a goal of making it beyond the qualifiers, or was it just
Adam,
if I
I
just
did
do
not
one
have.
is one?
I basically, so my dad had signed up to do pairs with me as well, just because he's like, while we're there, we might as well. But we'd basically made a plan for like, okay, so I've got individuals on this day, I've got pairs on this day, and then there was like a national park nearby that we were going to go to. Like he was going to go to a soccer game. Like we were going to go here. We like basically just like planned a week's holiday with a couple of puzzles in there. So yeah, had no ambition whatsoever of making it past the qualifiers. Was purely just there to have a good time. And like I didn't think that, like, because at the time it was like I was kind of, it sounds silly, but you see like Alejandro's times, you see, like all the fast puzzlers times, and you think, well, I'm like miles slower than them. So there's no way I'm making it to finals. So, and you don't think about the other like 100 people that are in that round. You just compare yourself to like the best person and think, well, I'm not that good, so I'm not going to make it to finals. So that's fine. And I think that really helped in a way that I had like no pressure on myself. I was just there to have fun, did not expect to do anywhere near well in terms of sort of the rankings and stuff. And I think that made it a lot easier. Different mindset this year. But I think, yeah, that definitely made it a lot easier just being there for the fun of it and to enjoy it. Took the pressure off, which meant that I could just enjoy it and really focus on just doing the puzzle and having a good time.
So you ended up getting postcard of Paris, which I'm very jealous of. And it was at the Canadian Nationals the same year as a individual qualifier for us.
Mm-hmm.
Individual? It was one of the qualify. It was in the round I wasn't in. I think it was the individual qualifiers, and I was so upset because
it's such an easy-ish puzzle compared to what some other rounds were. And so it's interesting to see the different times because I think the slowest time for that round was 51 minutes. The slowest qualifier, sorry, to get through. While other ones, you have people that are closer to an hour as the winners of their qualifiers. It's so you can't even predict what each round is going to be. But you finish in 46th place, which means you qualify for the semifinals. Surprise?
So, fun story about Paris postcard. The week before going to Spain, I think it was Emily's predictions of like what puzzles might come up. And so she'd mentioned postcards, like the postcard puzzle's going to come up. Karen had talked about postcard puzzles. Muggins here, never done a postcard. I was like, what's a postcard puzzle? Looks them up. Oh, they look really nice. Yeah, I'll do one of those when I get home. That will be fun. At this point, my training has literally been buying puzzles from charity shops. I hadn't bought a single new intentional Ravensburger puzzle. It was just cats in a basket from the charity shop. That's what I was like doing my training on. So I turned up to us and I was like, yeah, Paris postcard, like that'd be a really good one to get. And I was like, well, not for me. Like I'm probably the only person in Spain right now that hasn't done Paris postcard because everybody's talking about it. So then, because of the mistake with the puzzle mix-up in the round before, the volunteers are going around opening all of the bags and checking that they have the right puzzle in them and resealing the bags for my evening round. Also, I wasn't aware of this, but Liz told me afterwards, they'd posted the image on the results page on the World's website ahead of the round starting.
Yeah.
So I'm there, getting all ready. My family WhatsApp starts like kicking off. My sister's in the UK, like, it's going to be Paris postcard. They're talking about it on like the live stream or da-da-da. And my literal reply was, in that case, I'm effed because I'm the only effing person in this room that's never done a postcard. Lol. So that was literally my reply to them. And at that point, something just switched in my brain of like, well, you don't stand a flipping chance now, mate. So just have fun with it. At least it's a nice puzzle that you want to do. Right? And it was a really nice puzzle that I did want to do. And when I finished and the lady like wrote down my time, I literally like had to say, but are you sure you've written that right? Because I was convinced that I was like over 50 minutes, did not think that I would, qualify at all. So I was very much in shock, but yeah, very much enjoyed it and absolutely stoked to get through to the next round. Like really, really pleased.
Yeah, and which is great. Like it's my first Worlds this year. Semifinal, if I don't make the semifinals, I'm going to be extremely disappointed with myself, but you never know what the puzzles are going to be and how often other people have practiced them. If it's a puzzle that's only available in Europe that we haven't had the chance to see here, it puts us at a disadvantage. If they take one of the puzzles from the Canadian or the US nationals, which we have an advantage of, that benefits. So it's so hard to know what it's going to be. And the fact they might reuse the same puzzles in different rounds.
What
Yeah, now no one knows what to think. I think they're just doing that just to kind of pretend that no, don't go out and try to study what the puzzles are going to be. But that's what we're doing. Anyways, back to last year's Worlds. You get to the semifinals. You get the Ocean Whimsy puzzle.
Yes.
If that's more challenging than the Paris postcard, for sure.
Yeah.
Is that? I know it's tough to say because you haven't done tons of puzzles at this point, but does this go into your preferred style of puzzle?
So again, it's not really anything that I've practiced because like 90% of the puzzles that you get in charity shops in the UK are either cats or dogs in a basket, some sort of photo of like a village in the 80s or like a hill in, there's like some sheep and a pub or something. Or it's like an illustration by either like Trevor Mitchell or Kevin Walsh, which is like a very like quintessential like British country scene or, a town scene. So like sort of brighter modern illustrations are so far out of my wheelhouse. It's not something that I'm like prepared for at all. And so the first semi-final was the flower jungle, which was the sort of like very flat image with the turquoise background. And I remember looking at that and being like, God, I hope I don't get something like that. Like, that's going to be hard work. So when it was Ocean Whimsy and it had, you know, there's a bit more texture and like a bit more going on. Again, I was like, well, I don't think I'm going to do very well at it, but at least it's pretty. Like, at least it's a nice picture that I'm going to enjoy building. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done a puzzle where I've thought, I'm going to enjoy the image. It's just, I look at it as a piece, but I don't even look at a full image. I look at very like small sections of the puzzle and be like, okay, well, this is done now, and then this is done. I don't think I've ever looked at it as I might have fun. But you finish that round in 108th spot, which is not a qualifying position to get into the finals. But you do end up in an interesting position because, as you mentioned before, there wasn't a lot of people from the UK there. And you were there under, because Wales doesn't have their own, Scotland doesn't have their own, you go under.
All UK.
So you really have 4 countries, and you still don't have very many participants.
No.
And there's always British people in Spain, so I'm not understanding why there wasn't more. But
there were quite a few there. I just didn't know any of them. So
yeah, but you still finish the puzzle, but about 5 minutes behind the automatic qualifiers, which the last automatic qualifier was 69th place. So 108th is quite a bit behind that.
Yeah, a little bit.
But you're the first person I've spoken to that the country rule came up, which is slightly changed this year, kind of, but not really. But the country rule where if no one else from your country finishes, you get a spot. You potentially get one of the spots in the finals. And
yeah, so the way it was I want to say it was the 90 people went through to the finals. It was the first 45 based on time, then the next 45 but based on like individual nationality. So I've explained that really badly. The weird thing,
it's the first 69 or 70 go through straight on, and then it's 20 more on top of that. So 90 from your round.
But the way that it worked last year, there were only, and I didn't realize this until after the semi-final.
Yeah.
I was aware of the international rule and that I wasn't going to qualify on time, but that there was a chance that, you know, somehow the international rule might kick in, because my dad and I did not get through in pairs, but the pair next to us that had more pieces left than us did qualify on the international rule. So I was aware of it and I was like, oh, you know, maybe that'll kick in. Hadn't really thought about it. And then after the fact, I looked at it and I was like, so it's, you know, it's the fastest 45 and then the fastest 45 individual nations. There's only 42 nationalities competing in my semi-final. So I just have to be the fastest UK person in my semi-final.
And there's only 2 of you, I checked.
There's only 2 of us. At this point, I had met Annika from the UK JPA. She'd added me to the WhatsApp group. I was in the mix. So my dad and I had gone to get a coffee afterwards, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to qualify. And I was like, wait a minute, like, I don't know how and the results were really, really slow at loading at this point. So I'm like refreshing. I'm like, I don't. So I'm like, I'm just going to put it in the group chat. I'm just going to ask like, Estee, what was your time? Because I can't like spend all day not knowing. So I put in, I was like, you know, I think she'd asked for a hair tie or someone had asked for a hair tie. So she was in the conversation. I like replied. I was like, oh, how did you do with Ocean Whimsy? And she replied with her time. And I was like, I was faster than that. Like, I think I qualified, but I didn't want to get my hopes up because, again, there'd been a thing with one of the pairs rounds where they'd put a load of queues up to say that people had qualified. Then those queues had gone away overnight because there was a problem. So I was like, I'm not going to get my hopes up. Until that queue's next to my name, I'm not going to get my hopes up. All afternoon. And there's like the results are not loading. There's no qualifications, like, and all afternoon. Go into Teams that evening, still not knowing if I've actually qualified for finals or not. And I counted. There was me, there was another girl there from Wales, and we had literally gone through and counted every single individual person, tried to work out all the maths, and we were like, there's no way that I'm not in the final. but no, I can't. No, I'm not in the final. This is mad. Like, so went into teams that evening, still not knowing if I was going to be in the final the next day or not. So yeah, it was a weird situation, and yeah, there's a lot of talk about the international rule and is it fair? Is it not fair? Does it help? Does it not help? This year they've massively stripped it back. So yeah, like you're saying, there's like I don't even really understand it this year, to be honest. Like it confuses the heck out of me.
It's essentially the same, I think, this year, just a whole lot less spots.
Yeah.
Where I think it's like the next 15 spots or something like that. And it's essentially still the country rule, it's just not as they've rebranded it,
Yeah.
but it's essentially the same thing.
Yeah. Is it only in the qualifiers this year? Because I didn't see it mentioned in the semi-finals, like bit of the rules, but again,
really, I should look at that more. But because I know going in as a Canadian, we have 53, 52 people under the Canada umbrella, so it doesn't apply to the Canadians. It shouldn't apply to the Canadians.
Yeah.
And I've seen who's in my groups and stuff. It's not going to apply. So I need to finish fast. That's all that matters for me. Yeah, because I knew there was some British, like yourself included, that got through last year with the country rule, and then I considered like, well, I have my British passport. Do I sign up as a Brit and go over and hope maybe I can get through on a country rule? And then I was like, no, I don't want to do that. And then they took it back anyways, and you can't change your different nationalities, but that's
wow.
Anyways, you do make the finals, which is huge considering you've never puzzled in a speed puzzling competition before. I'm hoping that no one's watching this or people that know kind of what happened to you with it are now thinking, speed puzzling is super, super simple. I can make the finals at the World Championships on a whim. Do 2 practice puzzles and we're good to go. I don't think that's going to be the case going forwards with it, but you do make the finals. You finish in 159th place,
yes.
Which sounds like a huge number, but you can still claim that you are the 159th best puzzler in the world. Because
there's a lot of people in the world.
Yeah, out of 8 billion people, you are 159th. And you only get rankings if you show up. I don't care if someone's at home going, well, I can go fast. You weren't there. So it doesn't count. When we watch the Olympics and stuff like that, you can be like, I could do that. No. But your ending to it, you feature on the live stream for the ending. I've watched it and it's hilarious. But just kind of describe, because you finished the puzzle, but kind of describe your feelings as you are getting close to the 2 finishes.
So going into it, my dad had sort of said, because they cut it down to 75 minutes in the final. So, you haven't got 90, you've got 75. So he's like, oh, how do you think you'll do with like the 75-minute cutoff? And I was like, honestly, it just depends on what comes out of the bag. It's 50-50. If it's dark and it's got animals on it, I don't stand a chance. If it's like a bright image or, like a nice like painting of a town in the 60s or something, like maybe, So he was like, oh, how am I going to know though? Because he's like WhatsApping like my family on the sidelines. And I said, I'll open the bag, I'll look at the puzzle. I said, and if I don't stand a chance, I'll just shake my head and then you'll know not to be like on tenterhooks and you can just like chill out, watch everybody else, like go and watch Alejandro, go and see like who's winning, just have a good time and then come back to me in like 60 minutes time and see how I'm getting on. Yeah. So he filmed like me starting and you just see me open the bag, pull it out, laugh out loud and just shake my head like this, like not a chance, a chance. So again, I'm like, you're just here to have fun. You never thought you were going to be here anyway. So just, crack on with it. It's going to be a laugh. Working my way through the puzzle, make the mistake of pulling all of the fur inside the frame to start with, thinking, oh, that's all bright, that'll be easy. Then have to waste time ditching it all out again. Like that will come back to haunt me. Build it all up. And then I'm thinking, it's getting to like more and more people around me finishing, like the time's ticking on. And I've got one headphone in, but I only ever puzzle with one headphone, so I can hear what's going on around me. I can hear any announcements. So Charlie does a sort of like I don't know if he does like 10 minutes or 5 minutes or something, and then he does like a minute countdown. And so the people that were watching me, they were like, can she hear that there's only like a minute left? Because she's not speeding up. And at this point, Adam, I could not speed up. All of the bits were just dark green and they went somewhere, but they weren't going to go there any faster. They just, it was painful. And then I'm thinking, I think it was at the 5 minute countdown, I just have this thing in my head of when I'm at home, I'm puzzling on my dining room table, and Craig, my husband, would come in the room and look at what I was doing, and I'd be like, F off, I've got 5 minutes left and I'm not going to do it. And he would be like, you can do that easy, and then walk out of the room. And it made me so mad every time he did it. And I'd be like, you think it's effing easy? I'll show you easy. And then I would do it just to spite him, and then like run into the lounge and be like, yeah, I did it with 30 seconds to spare or whatever. So this like flashes through my head as Charlie's doing his like 5 minutes remaining or whatever. And I'm like, what would Craig say if he was here? He'd look at that and be like, oh, you can do that easy. So yeah, and then literally as I put the last piece in, he starts doing the 10-second countdown, and I have never been more relieved in my entire life.
So
it was wild.
You finished with 11 seconds left before the 75 minutes were up, which finishing the puzzle is a huge accomplishment. The Tiger family in the Oasis puzzle is not an easy puzzle. If that shows up if a similar puzzle like that shows up in the semifinals or the final, or even the qualifications, it could, because it's been out for so long now. I don't know. I don't know if I move on to the next round, because that is a bunch of plants and fur and weird other textures, and that's my worst case scenario. But I remember watching the live streams last year when they were actually being done live. I watched the start to see what the puzzles are, come back 25 minutes later or so to see who the first finishers are, and then I always check back in when the time is about to finish, because I like seeing the people at the very end where they get. So I would have seen it before I even knew anything about you or who you were. You weren't even in Canada yet. And I remember watching it at the time. And then I watched it back a couple days ago to prepare for this. And I said the same thing both times, where it's use the other hand. And I was like, you are sitting there so casually, that hand's not doing anything. And I'm like, do you not know that there's 10 seconds, like 15 seconds left on that hand? You might as well not even have it attached to your body, because I was like, what are you doing? I was getting so frustrated from it. But you finished, so you're like, whatever. But I was like, oh my God. Both times.
No, it was, it was probably the most stressful minute of my life, that last minute, but also the most satisfying, like just getting that piece in. And it's great when you finish 11 seconds from the end, and then like you have the relief, you have the joy, you calm down, and then everyone starts cheering because they announced the new world champion. It feels like they're cheering for you. They're like, yeah, well done, you did it. I was like, yeah, that's for me.
Everyone around you was very supportive in the video, so that was nice as well.
There was yellow bibs everywhere. There was like a camera and another one and another one, and I was thinking, I've got to make this, because all eyes are on me. Like, I've got to make this.
Because there was two other people that also finished right after you. I don't know where one person was from. One person was from Ireland, but they cut to I forget where the lady was from, but she didn't finish. She was the last person they showed. She had 3 pieces left, but you can't see them. I think they're in her hand.
Yeah.
And I had to look up afterwards, and I was like, oh, so close. So close. But no, that's good. You make it to the finals. You finish the puzzle. Congratulations. Really quickly, because I think you just kind of had more fun with the other 2 groups, or the 2 events. Pairs, you said you partnered up with your dad.
Yes.
Jeff is your dad then?
Jeff is my dad,
So,
yes.
yeah, and I'm assuming you're just kind of there for fun. He's there as a supportive father, which is great to see. But you get maybe the hardest or the second hardest of the pairs puzzles. It was the purple lightning puzzle.
Pink light or pink shining, as
Yeah.
we like to call
Yeah.
it.
Not surprised. I'm surprised anyone finished it, to be honest. That seems like, again, another nightmare for a qualifier round. You don't make it through to the semifinals in this case, but did you still enjoy the pairs experience?
Oh my gosh, we had so much fun. So we'd sort of talked strategy a bit beforehand. We'd done one puzzle together in my hotel room that day. That's the only puzzle that my dad and I have ever done together. Kind of talked a little bit about strategy, just in terms of, and I know it's the opposite the way you shouldn't do puzzles like this, but it was just kind of like he would take the easy part of whatever it was, because I would immediately start with the hardest thing to just get us through that, and then which tactically not the best idea. Don't start with the hardest part. Don't start with a really dark rock and dark trees in a dark dome. Just don't do it. Like, that's not tactically the best way to go. But you know what? When you just want to have fun with your dad and do a puzzle, and you open it and that's the image you get, and he hasn't flipped the table and walked out of the dome, you just roll with it. So yeah, he was building out the edge. For some reason, I built out the big rock in the middle of the image. I built that like in the box itself. Like, we didn't have like sorting trays or anything like that. I was very unprepared. So I just kept saying to him, I'm building the rock in the box. And he had no idea what I was talking about until the end of the puzzle. And he like looked at it and then he was like, what were you talking about, a rock in a box? Like, is that puzzle lingo? I was like, no, that massive rock, I was building it in the box, so I wasn't in your way. He was like, oh, right. No idea what I was talking about. Like, he kept like moving around the table because the light was a nightmare, but then he'd like stand right at the end and completely block the slither of light that I was getting on the dark bit. So then it was literally just like a crypt puzzle, like just puzzling in darkness. But it was so much fun. Like, it was a hard slog, but I'm quite glad we got that puzzle in a way, because I think we both knew we don't stand a chance with this, so let's just try and finish it if we can, like, which we didn't, but it was still fun.
It would have been a really funny story if you guys stumbled into the finals or the semifinals, which would have been hilarious. But you also did teams.
Yes.
But you signed up on the day to join a team. Did you know any of the other people on it?
No. So yeah, it must have been after my individual qualifier, I think Annika, who is one of the ladies from the UK JPA, she heard me and Jeff talking. She's like, oh, you've got a British accent. Are you from the UK? I was like, yes. She's like, oh, we've got a WhatsApp group. Should I add you to it? And I was like, oh, someone actually messaged me on Facebook like a month ago and was like, do you want to be added to the WhatsApp group? And I was like, yeah, here's my number. And then I never got added. So I was just like, oh, they don't want me. Like, I'm not puzzle enough for them. That's fine. It was just an oversight. It was fine. So she'd added me to the WhatsApp group. So I was kind of having like some back and forth with people, but still hadn't really met anyone else. And then it was the morning that we did the team's puzzle in the evening, I think. She just like had grabbed me in the day and she was like, you're not on a team. Do you want to do teams? And I was like, yes. And she was like, Jeff, do you want to do teams? And he was like, no. And so there was a girl called Heather and a girl called Sophie from the UK. And then Heather had met a girl called Laura from Spain. And they were like, there's 3 of them, 1 of me, let's do a team. Like, it will be a laugh. Basically my motto for the week. And none of us was staying until like the day of teams finals and the presentation and everything. We were all like leaving finally before the end of the competition. So we were like, we don't want to qualify. We literally just want to have fun. Like, we just want to do another puzzle, like have a fun time. Like, we had no illusion that we would qualify. Like I say, we'd never met each other before. So yeah, we went and signed up. We called ourselves Fun Not Finals because we were there for fun, not finals. And yeah, we ended up we got to pick which round we wanted to go in at that point, because they were like, we've got spaces left in all of the rounds, so when do you want to? And I was like, can we do tonight, just in case I'm doing like individual finals tomorrow? I don't want to be doing teams beforehand. So we did the evening one, and it was the one with the German castle with the like brown band of trees and the cow in the bathtub. And the only strategy that we discussed beforehand was it doesn't matter what the pictures are. Like Heather had done Pink Lightning the night before as well in the dark. And we had said, it doesn't matter what the pictures are. We're choosing the 2 brightest images. I don't care what's on the box. We are choosing the 2 brightest images because we are not doing another dark puzzle in the dark. So that's what we did.
Okay, I have a question about that then. So before I go into like kind of how that worked out, did you have a contingency plan if you somehow did qualify for the finals, or were you just like, we're going to do our best not to qualify?
Yes, if we had qualified, we would have just said we're not going to be here for the finals. So then the next place team would have taken our place.
Okay.
Yeah. We were not taking flights.
Yeah. So this, I'm looking at the information I've written down here. You got to choose the round. Essentially, you kind of pushed forward this round, which turned out to be the hardest of all the qualifiers for the teams.
Mm-hmm.
Only 22 of the 98 teams finished both puzzles, which is unheard of. That's less than a quarter of the teams finished 2 puzzles. Only 13 teams qualified, finishing both puzzles. 13 teams qualified for the finals. 13 teams qualified for the finals without finishing the puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
So it went down to a piece count.
Mm-hmm.
Which 2 puzzles did you pick?
So we picked the Cactus Garden and it was one of the like fancy schmancy manor houses with a big green garden as well.
Yeah, so you decide against Cow in the Bathtub.
He's on the floor. He's having a bath down there. He's nowhere near our table.
Which, interestingly, more teams that qualified did pick Cow in the Bathtub. But I would have been the same as you. I would have picked the same 2 puzzles, even though there was no good options. But I thought, the Cow in the Bathtub looks too, even in the best case scenario, it looks too dark. And that's what a lot of people said afterwards as well. But yeah, so your team doesn't make it through.
Yeah.
Do you know how many pieces short you were?
Are you going to tell me? No, so we also, again, with my tactics of this isn't how you should puzzle, but it's how we puzzled. We knew strategically we should have started with the manor house and the green garden and then done the cactuses second. But we all agreed that we liked the cactus image. Again, this is where I'm very different to you. I'm like, this is a really nice puzzle. We all really liked that image. And we were like, we just want to complete one puzzle together that we're all going to enjoy. So let's just do this one first because we want to finish it. We don't want it to come down to we're missing 50 pieces from this puzzle at the end. We want to enjoy it. We want to complete this one. We'll start. So tactically, we knew we were going in on the wrong foot. How many pieces did we miss out by? Because this is may crush me.
132. That's how many pieces you were short. So 100-piece puzzle takes people, what, 5-6 minutes for some of the speed puzzle like that.
That's like 30 each. That's brutal. Why do you tell me this?
Because it's funny from my point of view. It's all. I think it's. You started off the week with Paris Postcard, which was the easiest puzzle of the entire competition, in my opinion.
Easy if you've done.
So I think there's a bit of karma that came back really quick for the other 2 qualifier rounds. Where
definitely.
So yeah, if you get an easy qualifier for individuals, watch out for what might come next. No, it sounds like you enjoyed Worlds, your first kind of experience with it. Before we move on to some other stuff, is there anything that you took away from Worlds, from the competition aspect or the experience aspect, that would be good for people going to Worlds for the first time this year to know?
I think so. I'm probably going to give the opposite advice of what I'm giving myself this year. So for myself this year, I'm kind of telling myself to not take it more seriously, but like I spent a lot of the time.
Your team was called Fun Not Finals, so I'm thinking it's a bit more serious.
I spent a lot of the time last year kind of not feeling guilty, but I remember saying to my dad and saying to Annika like a couple of times, like, I kind of feel bad that I'm doing well because I didn't expect to do well. And I feel like I've come in with the attitude of let's just have fun and do it and have the best time. And oh, look, I'm also doing well. Whereas and yes, I had trained, like I said, it was just charity shop secondhand puzzles. But I was doing like 2-3 puzzles a night sometimes, just going through like 500,000. So it wasn't like I just turned up having never done a puzzle before and got really lucky. Like I had been relentlessly, my dining room table did not exist for the 6 months before Worlds. But I did spend a lot of the time sort of feeling guilty that I was like knocking out these other people. So in the Paris postcard round, for example, someone said to me like, oh yeah, because you qualified, so such and such other person didn't get through on the international rule because you'd qualified under time for the UK and they'd done the puzzle in their hotel room that afternoon as practice. And I was like, sorry, like, but I was there to have fun, but also I came away from it thinking, imagine if I actually went in believing that I could do well, like, and really trying to be more precise and strategic and knowing what the bad strategies are and avoiding them instead of doing them. So I'm kind of going in with that mind frame this year. For people going for the first time and for yourself, enjoy the puzzles, Adam, and just enjoy it. Like, have
Absolutely
fun.
not.
And you know what? If competing hard is fun for you, then go in all guns blazing and compete your heart out. But just remember to have fun, and everyone there is so welcoming and so friendly that don't put too much pressure on yourself and just have a good time.
Yeah,
Winning's a good time, I know.
It's just the individual rounds that I'm most concerned about because that's the big highlight of the whole thing. Also, if I don't make it through the qualifiers, it kind of blows everything up on this channel. So that's the credibility is gone straight away. So there's also
not
that.
At all. It all depends on, and with them introducing the selection process this year, where you have to choose between the puzzles, but it's not like teams where you get to see them ahead of time. You literally open the bag, 2 puzzles. What are you going to do? Like, I was discussing this with some people from the UK, and I was like, there's going to be puzzles flying everywhere. I was like, if I'm on the barrier, whatever puzzle I choose not to do, I'm lobbing that into the crowd, so I can't second guess myself. Like, there's going to be boxes flying. Like, it's adding a whole new element to it, and I think so much of it comes down to what's in that bag when you open it, that you can know you're fast, you can know what strategy to take, you can know what's good to do, you can know what's bad to do, but it all just comes down to what puzzle you get on the day. And just, yeah, it's a lot of it is the luck of the draw. So, but you'll do great. You'll do great.
I know you're doing some mystery bags to help practice for this year's Worlds.
Yes.
But it's even like I'll be doing some mystery bags over the next few weeks. But for the past couple weeks at least, even when I'm practice opening the bag right now, I'll always have 2 puzzles in the bag just so I can get used to what it's like to pull 2 puzzles out. And because you still need to put it under the table, you still need to move. And that's all seconds that can make it. You finished the puzzle last year by 11 seconds. And that's, some people finish it by 1 second. So every little second counts. So if there's people watching this, practice that afterwards. It's fine.
You don't need to practice now.
It's fine. But no, okay, let's move on to something different with it.
Ask you about Worlds though. What are you most looking forward to with it this year?
I like the competitive atmosphere. I am a very competitive person. It's been a while since I've been in a big competition type of situation. Like, we have our nationals here, which is big, but like growing up doing sports and other activities like that, where there's a lot of people around. Like, I played hockey for the University of Edinburgh, and like traveling over throughout England and into Wales and Scotland and stuff like that. in these bigger competitions and like the national competitions there, and then doing sports in Canada growing up and music competitions growing up. I miss the competitive atmosphere. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to new puzzles. Don't care. But I don't care about the images. I'll get the puzzles at some point, anyways. I've never been to Spain, but it's not like we're in Barcelona or Madrid, or I'm not there to be a tourist. I land the day before the competition starts and I leave the day after it ends.
Yeah.
So it's not even the tourism aspect, it's purely the competition, which is why if I don't make it out of the qualifiers, I am not going to be a very happy Canadian. At
you
all.
you for sure.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Unless it's not flowers.
It's. I need to keep reminding myself that the things I find challenging with certain puzzles, like fur and foliage and stuff like that, other people find it equally as hard. Very few people are wandering around doing puzzles going, I love flowers, I love fur. That's the very rare case.
Yeah.
And I also need to keep reminding myself, like you said at the beginning, I can't keep looking at Alejandro's times and Victor's times, and like Victor finished in 8th or 9th last year, and or something like this. So the people that are winning this, the girl, it was the girl from Norway who won.
Yeah.
The won the whole thing. It's I need to keep reminding myself, I'm not winning this thing. That would be insane.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still have like 1 or 2 daydreams a day where it's like, what if? Because you never
know.
Maybe it's I pour the pieces out. Half the puzzle's already attached. Great. And
you rehearsed it 3 times in the hotel room that morning. Perfect.
Every piece lands upright, so my flip is done before. You never know. There's physics will tell you that there is a possibility every piece comes out together or right side up. Unlikely, but it could. We'll see. So you're still not big. You've only done 1 speed puzzling competition. You come out of Worlds, and then which is in September.
Yeah.
And then you're. I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Do you become more involved in like the speed puzzling community in the UK? I know some stuff happens in 2025, but for the rest of 2024, did any like kind of what changes after Worlds?
So I think it was just having met people at Worlds was great, because then it was like I now have this network of puzzle people that I could speak to. So I had the UK puzzle people, and then, like I say, I was on Liz's trivia team in the like opening evening of Worlds at the Dome. And I had basically just sort of accosted her and been like, hey, guess what? I'm moving to Canada next year. So sorry, you're now my best friend. So she was stuck with me as well. And so getting back from Worlds, the UK JPA did a really great thing where they then did, similar to the BYOPs we've been doing with Canadian speed puzzlers lately, they did a bunch of virtual bring your own puzzle competitions with the World's puzzles that we've just done. So a lot of them were just the standard, you puzzle for 90 minutes and see where you finish. They then introduced Puzzle Chicken, which is the greatest invention known to man, whereby the clock is reversed. It starts at 90. You can, so the UK virtual ones are a little bit more brutal than the Canadian ones that I've done in terms of the casual competitions, where everyone is off mic and you can absolutely sort of banter is probably the polite way of putting it with people, and just goad everybody into like trying to get them to start as low as possible, because the aim is to start as low as possible but still finish before 0, and the person that starts last and still finishes before 0 wins. So inevitably 9 times out of 10 I absolutely poop the bed in them, because somebody will taunt me into starting lower than I know I can possibly do, and I will go over 0. Or somebody, so we had a great one recently where Angareth from Wales she was talking, I'm going to go 49. So I was like, I'm going to go 48.30. Then she's like, I'm going to go 48. So I was like, I'm going to go 48. And it literally is like 5 seconds to 48 minutes on the clock. And she puts in the chat, like, I'm going to go 47.30. And at that point, I'm committed, I'm locked in. I'm like, I can't back out now. And she beat me. And she took a podium. She took 3rd place. And I was like, that's how you puzzle chicken. But yeah, so the UK JPA did a lot of these. So I was getting to do like so this was my first taste of like virtual competitions, was just these like casual competitions with the UK people, just doing these for fun. My then first like hidden actual competition was a Christmas one that the UK JPA did. It was like a family and friends Christmas competition. Craig and I signed up with the friends that I'd been talking about speed puzzling with when I very first got into it. I was like, oh, tell Steph in the office, like, you know, there's this Christmas competition. She can come and be on our team. It'll be really fun. It's between Christmas and New Year. He told her about it. She's like, yeah, we'll do it. So I like signed us up. Then she went and formed her own family team. So it was just me and Craig. They absolutely smashed everybody in this competition. It was like one of the Christmas Ravensburgers, and her family team like finished this puzzle like half an hour ahead of everybody else, then started doing like a Wasgage afterwards, and we were all just like, come on now, come on. But that was sort of, yeah, my first actual virtual competition. And then, yeah, with moving to Canada, I've just basically inserted myself into the puzzle world here as well. It's like, sorry, you're stuck with me now. Like, so yeah, just been trying to do as much puzzling as I can, really. But yeah, meeting people at Worlds was kind of a gateway to that, and yeah, getting to know Annika and people in the UK puzzle world's been awesome, and then yeah, getting to know everybody over here as well has been really good.
So speaking of Annika, before you moved to Canada, you end up as one of only 2 people in the individual finals at Worlds. There was only 2 of you. You and Annika were the last 2 British people standing at Worlds.
It was Nikki. Nikki was the other.
Oh, Nikki was
UK. Yeah.
Oh, Annika. Sorry, Annika was in your semi-final. That was it the same Annika?
I don't know, probably. I still didn't really know who anybody was at that point. So all I know is that my friend Helen did cow in a bathtub and hated it. So
yes. But somehow you end up on a television morning show called This Morning on ITV back in February. How does that happen?
So basically this is middle of February. I moved to Canada on the 30th of March. So I'm in my like 6-week countdown of move to Canada. So I'm still working full time. And then my scheduled days off, like my family are, you know, coming to see me every couple of weeks, because obviously I'm moving to the other side of the world. I need to pack up my house, pack up my life, like sort everything out. So I'm a little bit hectic. So I get home from work on a Monday. My husband he plays hockey on Monday nights. So he takes a car, goes to hockey. I get a text from Annika, or maybe it was a Tuesday. I don't know, but either way, I get a text from Annika, like, what are you doing on Wednesday? Can you be in London at 11 a.m? And I was like, weirdly, my days off are Tuesday and Wednesday this week, so I can. Why do you ask? And so she replies, and she's like, well, ITV this morning want to do a segment on speed puzzling. So I pitched a few hours ago and like demonstrate what a speed puzzle is, how you do it. And she's like, it's going to be like an app that we're going to have like an hour to do it. So I need someone that I know can finish a puzzle in like less than an hour. And I think she's like asked a couple of other people, because most people work like in the week, they can't do it. They're not as close to London, they can't do it. And I'm like, be a laugh, won't it? Yeah, all right. I was like, that is actually my day off. So yeah, sure. Like, let me know what's going on. So she was like, cool. I'll reply to them now. Like, I'll probably get an update tomorrow. They'll cover like expenses and like travel and everything. So literally you just have to worry about like turning up and doing the puzzles. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I wake up on the Tuesday. My family have come over from the south coast of England. They've come over to see me. And I was like, they got there. I was like, I might have to kick you out like at 2 o'clock on the dot today because I might be getting a train to London because I might be going on breakfast TV tomorrow to do a puzzle. And they're like, what? I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, Annika texted me yesterday asking if I could do this. Like, yes, I can. So I'm kind of waiting to hear from her and from the producers as to like, is this going ahead? What's happening? Da, da, da. So there's like text messages going back and forth through the day. And she is like, yeah, like they're going to phone you. They'll do like a pre-screening thing with you to just, you know, make sure that you're not like a criminal or whatever. And then, yeah, they'll like sort out your like travel and hotel and stuff. And yeah, like this is happening. And the original plan that they'd had was to get a jigsaw made of like the TV presenters, but like I think they were thinking like 100 piece or 200 piece. And Hannah was like, that's going to take us 10 minutes. Like, no. So she was like, go and buy a 500 piece Ravensburger from the store and we will do that. So we did know the image ahead of time, which is good because otherwise I would have been pushing it for an hour. But yeah, so had a phone call to the producer. They do all the pre-screening. That's fine. You know, I'm television safe. It's okay. And they're like, yeah, we'll like send you a train ticket. Like, get this train to London, and then turn up at the studio tomorrow morning. We'll like book you a taxi. Just get in a taxi, get to the studio. They were like, oh, we've got like a big segment of something else tomorrow, so we're not going to have like much time for hair and makeup. And both me and Annika are like, don't even worry about it. They were like, what we normally do on blokes is just like a bit of powder so you're not shiny. It's like spray your hair. I was like, yeah, that'll do. Like, don't worry, mate. We're there for puzzles. It's fine. And then, yeah, ended up doing a 500 piece speed puzzle. And then the presenters. So the questions they'd like briefed us on the day before, the first question they asked us like, where does speed puzzling come from? And I'm like, I haven't researched the history, but I don't know. Like, what is speed puzzling? And I'm like, doing a puzzle really fast. Like, what do you say to that? But yeah, so it definitely didn't have the time in my day to be doing it, but it was so much fun, and I'm so glad I did. And yeah, it was something that I wouldn't ever have done had I not decided to go to Spain on a whim. So it was really cool.
Yeah, so I've watched the clip of it. If anyone's looking for it, it's the TV show's called This Morning on ITV, season 37, episode 40. I'm glad I do my research for this stuff. This is the puzzle here that you did, which is not an easy puzzle. Had you done that one before?
Yes.
That's good. Had Annika done it before?
Yes. Yeah.
Had Fleur done it before?
Poor Fleur. Bless her.
I'm not going to go into all of that. I would encourage people, if they can find this episode, obviously can't show it here because of copyright, but if they can find the episode, there's streaming sites. It's very funny watching the two of you go up against an average person do the puzzle. It was really funny. But what was it like puzzling in a, because it's just essentially it's one-on-one kind of. What's it like puzzling in that type of atmosphere where the cameras are on you, but they're not really, because they're doing other stuff. People are talking to the side. They're interviewing people on a couch 20 feet away from you. There are some serious topics in that episode as well that they covered, which the topics were serious, but I kept laughing as I kept bouncing and back to the speed puzzlers. And I was like, you're just talking about some not so great stuff. And now let's look at people put zebras in together. And it was, what's that kind of like, having both of those things happen at the same time?
It was bizarre. So I think having done like an in-person competition at that time, you're kind of used to weird activities going on around you while you're doing a puzzle. But yeah, just sort of having like the big cameras like pointed directly at you, and like the lights, and being aware that like, oh, there's that bloke that's on that TV show, like also I'm on a TV show, like what, and just getting your head around that, it was a bit strange. But so one of my dad's friends from like work or something has like been on this show a couple of times before for something else, and so Jeff had like texted the day before and was like, oh, Kirsty's like going to be on this morning, like any like top tips. And he was like, yeah, just like don't look directly at the cameras and just pretend that you're not on the telly. And I was like, cool, like that's easy to do, isn't it? But yeah, so it was just sort of, yeah, reminding myself of like, you're just in a room, you're doing a puzzle, you've done 100, like it's, what's the worst that could happen? Like it's fine. So it was, yeah, it was a different environment, but like at Worlds, you have the cameras in your face when you finish anyway. You have the people waiting next to you for you to finish. So in a way, it was less pressure than that because everybody else was so distracted by filming the rest of the show that they weren't really bothered about us just doing a puzzle in the corner. The interview part at the end of it was the most stressful part, probably.
Yeah. It's like when watching the presenters was probably one of the funnier bits because it's like when I talk to like family members or friends that don't really know much about speed puzzling and you're trying to explain it to them and they're trying their best, they really are, but it's just not clicking in their head as, yeah, but like old people put puzzles together. What? Like I don't understand. So you do them fast? What's fast? And then you're like, well, I can do like my fastest ever on a repeat puzzle is 29 minutes, but my fastest first attempt is 42, and I beat someone by 4 minutes. Oh, that's close. I was like, well, not really. And it's like, they're not really understanding the difference between it. And I just watched on the presenters' faces where they're trying so hard. And they're just like, yeah, this is fun. This is for children, right? But
yeah, no. They have to film like so many, like I guess they do sort of, yeah, like 2 or 3 like quirky segments a week or whatever. Yeah. So they must have so many things coming through that, yeah, the fact that they even, you know, understand the basics of speed puzzling by the end of it is like, I'm like, yeah, fair play, because, you know, this is just another one in like a list of 100 weird things, like weird hobbies that comes through your show every month. But yeah, they were so lovely. Like they were really, really nice, like made us feel like super comfortable, super at ease. And they were very impressed with us. So, you know, that was good.
That was impressive. You finished at the time of 49:02, I think I've written down.
Yeah.
49:02. Which is very sub 50 for that puzzle is good. And then so you do that, and then you flee the country, and you move to Canada.
Yeah.
With it to Manitoba. I'm not going to ask why, but Manitoba, but you compete in the Canadian Nationals a month and a bit later. Did you sign up for the Nationals before you arrived in Canada, or did you sign up? You must have, because they sold out so fast.
Out of the competition. So when they announced Nationals, I was talking with Liz at the time as well, because I'd hijacked her in Spain, and I'd found out I was missing UK Nationals by 1 week. So I left the UK. 1 week later, they did their first ever Ravensburger sponsored Nationals, and I was gutted. So they announced Canadian Nationals, and so I'm like messaging Liz, and I'm like, do you think I'll be eligible? Like, I emailed CJPA and was like, hi, I'm moving to Canada. Am I allowed to go to Canadian Nationals? And so they replied, and they sort of said, like, we're going to be discussing eligibility and like who can compete, whether it's going to be citizens, residents, like what the deal is. So when it was, I think when the rules came out, whether it was the residents, so you had to be a citizen or resident of Canada. So technically when I registered, I wasn't yet a resident. And had my residency been refused, I would have withdrawn my my sign up. But yeah, because I knew I was going to be a temporary resident, I was like, yeah, that's it. I'm in. I'm doing it. I've got, like, I can't miss UK Nationals and miss Canadian Nationals. I've got to do one or the other. So yeah, I signed up for that, before I left the UK. And then, like you say, I was literally in the country for just over a month before I did it.
So makes sense. You want to have some competition experience other than Worlds at some point in person. So you enter all 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 3 years to get to know enough people to join to get into all 3 rounds. You do it within a month, so impressive for you.
I mean, Liz finangled me onto both my nationals team and my worlds team. Yeah, she managed to find a spot for me on both of those, and I'd called dibs on her as my pairs partner. So yeah, she was stuck with me.
You're a world's veteran at this point. You've starred on a TV show doing puzzles, so UK is sending their best over to infiltrate Canada, apparently. Were your expectations? Did you know much about the Canadian speed puzzle outside of Liz? Did you know much about the Canadian speed puzzling scene before any of this?
Not really. So I'm gonna like fangirl on Devon now, and she's been like, "This is well cringe." Like what? But so Devon was kind of the only name. Devon Donaldson was the only sort of big name in Canadian puzzling that I was aware of, sort of prior to coming to Canada, other than Liz, obviously. But yeah, because I'd sort of once I'd realised I was going to be moving to Canada, and the puzzles were my thing. Obviously, I was like, right, who's at Worlds that does puzzles for Canada? Right, Devon's like the fastest Canadian puzzler at Worlds. Okay, like I'm going to make her my new best friend. But so she was kind of the only other sort of puzzler that I had an awareness of at the time. But very much the same to sort of, I was very ignorant of all UK puzzlers before going to Worlds. Like it was more just sort of, I'll turn up and, meet people and have a good time. Like I'm sure everybody's friendly. Everybody that I've met so far through puzzling has been lovely. So, but yeah, I had no sort of idea of like what people's stats were, how fast they were, who to watch out for, who's paired with who. Like no concept of any of that at all. I was just there for a good time.
Fair enough. So you wouldn't have competed with anything in Canada at this point either. You didn't do any of the April virtual competitions beforehand, I don't think. No.
No.
So this was your first Canadian competition.
We did. Liz came to Winnipeg. She got the train to Winnipeg, spent about 5 days with me and Brandon, and then we drove back over to Toronto. While we were in Winnipeg, we did a competition at a board game cafe there with Rebecca, who I'd met through one of the virtual socials that the CJPA do, and Liz knew her as well. So I had done a competition, but it was a very casual competition in a board game cafe in
Winnipeg. So we had assigned seating at nationals.
Yes.
But because you're new, you're unknown with it. So you're just kind of you're placed randomly somewhere in the room. You were in the second qualifier,
yes,
I believe. So the same as mine.
Yep.
That one there. And yeah, it's a fine puzzle. But you're table 36, you're closer to the back of the room. I was going to ask if it mattered to you if there's people and stuff around, but after hearing from Worlds where you had a lot of people around and TV shows and everything else, I feel that wouldn't make a difference to you.
No, I can't. Like personally, the closer to the middle of the room I am, probably the happier I am. For Paris Post Cup, I was very much sort of centre near the back, and so because I spotted for the first round of Canadian nationals, so I got to like walk around and be like, okay, this is where I'm going to be sitting, like do a recce of the hall, like so I could sort of like get my bearings as to where I was going to be. The main thing for me is which side of the table I'm going to be sat on, just so I can in my brain figure out, okay, I want more of my focus to be away from the person that I'm next to. So if I'm on this side of the table, I'll have my pieces focused over here. If I'm on the other side, I'll have them focused over here. So in my head, that's more important than which table I'm at, although I don't really want to be right on the edge. Like, does anyone?
No. No, on the yes, I do. Absolutely. I've never been in the middle at any competition. I don't want people on either side of me.
Yeah.
Because if I need to kind of like tilt around the side of the table a little bit, I have that option. Whereas if you're in the middle, you could have pieces flying at you from both sides if someone messes up, and it's tougher to. No, I'd definitely rather have the edge. But going into nationals this year, like I knew my table number,
Mhm.
and I was pretty sure I was going to be on the edge, but there was a chance I might not be
Mhm.
with it. So when I was practicing on, like, I have one of the competition style tables that I
Mhm.
practice on. I'll practice on both sides of the table, but one's up against a wall, so it
Yeah.
feels like I'm restricted, while the other side it's on the edge, and
Mhm.
then I'll move that around. So it's even part of the practicing is what your kind of what table space you might have. It's not all
Yeah.
table space is equal,
Yeah.
but no, I don't want to be in between people. Um, were you? But I do like being more towards the middle of the room.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't like the edges, and I don't think I had a round. I didn't. No round I had at nationals this year was in the middle. I was on the edge for every single round.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, no, sorry. Paris final. I wasn't. I knew there was one. I was close to the edge, but not at the edge.
Yeah.
But it was, I'd much rather prefer somewhere in the middle where no one's paying attention to me. Let me do my own thing. So you're in my round
Mhm.
for that. You beat me and get fifth place. Uh,
Sorry. Sorry, not sorry.
if I had gotten ninth, I would have been very angry, but I got eighth, so I'm okay with it. Because there's a huge difference between eighth and ninth in that round, in terms of how it helps you in the final.
Wow. See,
But
we'll get to it, but I might disagree with you on that as well.
yeah, some people are disagreeing with it, and I still don't understand. But you finish in fifth.
Yes.
Um, is the U, which is good, very good.
Where
Are
did
you
that
thinking
come
the
from?
well, you've been practicing, and but
Yeah.
are you thinking that the UK puzzle scene is more challenging?
No. So I had done one competition in a board game cafe in Nottingham in February, I think, before I'd left the UK. So that was like the only I'd done like the two board game cafe competitions, and I'd come third in that one, whereas I'd won in the one in Winnipeg. So, but the UK puzzling has definitely stepped up a notch. Like, because the first full weekend that I was in Canada, I'd gotten up at like 4:30 a.m. so I could live stream UK nationals on YouTube and was like WhatsApping my friends that were there as well. And the puzzle selections were hard, and and people were finishing fast. And I was thinking, like UK has stepped it up a notch, like big time. So the girl that's replaced me on my teams at Worlds this year, she finished second in UK nationals. She was like an unknown quantity, just came out of nowhere, and she is absolutely killing it. Her name's Rachel. She's amazing. And so I was thinking, like, flipping heck, like, if UK's gotten this good, like, I already know Canada's faster than UK. Like, I don't stand a chance. So again, it was kind of the same mentality that I went into Worlds with of at this point, I was stoked to be in Canada, like having the time of my life. Like I wasn't working because I hadn't found a job yet, because I'd allowed myself I'd allowed myself a 6-month buffer of moving to being like fully situated and sorted. And so yeah, I wasn't working, but just had like lovely little holiday jaunt with Liz, doing our little road trip across Northern Ontario. Like everything was still such a novelty to me. And then yeah, so I was going into this and I knew that there were, big names, fast puzzlers, all of this. I'd spotted the first round, so I'd seen the first image with the canoes, and Liz and I had been talking about how landscapes are a very European puzzle, whereas illustrations are a very North American puzzle. Like in terms of that seems to be, you get more landscapes and photos of fields and stuff in the UK and European catalogue, whereas in North America it's a lot more bright illustrations and things like that. So yeah, when we saw the first one was, sort of, and we had literally said, like, as long as it's not like a mountain reflected in a river, we'll be fine. And then, the first round, and I'm, I mean, nail on the head. I was like, I called it. So yeah, spotting for that one. And I was thinking, like, I said to the girl next to me when we got like sat at our tables, I was like, if we open the bag and it's basically the same as the first one, I apologize for whatever words come out of my mouth because it's going to be a tough one. Opened it, saw that I believe an FML may have come out of my mouth, and then just got to puzzling. And you know, when you just hit the zone and you're just, it's only happened on like a few puzzles for me on first attempts. It doesn't normally happen, but you just know what piece you're going to do next, what section you're going to focus on, what area you're going to do. You know what's tough and what you're going to leave for last, and you actually do it. Like, all of the things your brain's telling you to do, you do them, and you're just like, yeah, I'm doing this. And so I'm getting through it, and I'm thinking, I'm getting close to the end, and no one's really clapped yet, and I might finish in the top half. I might be okay here. And then I'm thinking, still no one's clapped. Like, I might get like top 20, and then still no one's clapped. And I'm like, and this is all in the back of my head, like, don't go mad, but you might get top 10 here. And literally, like, and then I finish it, and I'm thinking, I think I was in the top 10. And I leave, and I'm like, I think I was in the top 5. Like, and brain could not compute. It was just, that was my vibe that morning, and it just worked. It really did.
Yeah, we have very different mindsets when it comes to puzzling, because I thought I had finished in 9th, and I was so disappointed with it, because as people were finishing, so my goal was 8, and we'll talk about why in a second. My goal was 8, and so I was counting off the people as they were finishing, which, yes, that's definitely distracting me a little bit, but it's also pushing me to go, okay, well, one person's done. You only have 6 others that can finish. Now, 2 have done. Only 5 others can finish if you want that 8th spot. And there must have been like some odd cheer or something that happened in the room, and I counted that as a finisher, but it wasn't a finisher.
Everyone cheered for me twice, Adam. That's what it was.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe that was it. So yeah, I thought I finished in 9th, and I was so disappointed. But yeah, so for context, if finishing in the top 8 means you get a full-size table for the final. I think that is a huge, huge benefit. The more space I prefer the more space. Maybe because when I practice on a very purposefully, like, I do have the full-size table that I can, but I very much restrict myself to a half table. I don't use a full table ever with it. And so having that extra space, I liked, but I'm feeling you have a different point of view on that.
So going into it, I was like, amazing, I get a big table, like, posted on my Instagram, like, look, I get a big table, like, this is so cool. Just, I mean, a lot of things went wrong for me with that final puzzle, which we can discuss in great detail. But I think having the extra space, one, I just didn't know what to do with it, because it felt like I just was like, yeah, I've got all this space, so maybe I'll put things further away. But actually, I'm better when I'm puzzling and everything is within arm's reach. And if I need to move the box, it's right there and I can move it. And all of my pieces are concise, and I know what I'm doing, and I know where things are going. So, like, yes, I have the full table. I would have to watch and see if I actually used any of it sensibly. I feel like there were some sensible things I could have done with that space. Definitely didn't do them. I think the benefit is not having that person directly adjacent to you. So when we opened the bags, the puzzle piece bags in the individuals round, the girl next to me, 2 of her pieces, well, a lot of her pieces flew everywhere. And there were 2 pieces that we were both like, and I was like, we'll leave them there. And I knew I'd be building the sky first. So I was like, we'll leave them there. If they don't go in my sky, they're yours. And that was the only conversation we had. So you have the benefit of knowing nobody else can interfere with your puzzle. Yeah. But in terms of the additional space, I feel like I got in my head with it, and I was like, I don't like second guessing myself, or should I be putting things there? Like, should I just keep in my little zone? And yeah, it's a weird one.
yeah, I don't use the full table. That would be insane.
Yeah.
That's way too big. Like I'm sitting at that table right now as we're talking, and the other end is 6 feet away from me. Like it looks like it's miles away from. So no, it's not. I don't use the whole thing, but like with the pink tree there, I knew I'm not doing that at any point during the puzzle. That is definitely at the end. But because I have the large size, I can take all those pink pieces out and push them away from me. So they're not even in my vision because I don't need them to be. So that's what I like about if you only have half the table, those pink pieces will just be sitting there staring at me the whole time, going, "We're still here. You're gonna have to deal with us eventually." But at the full table, I can kind of push them away and be
Mhm.
like, "I know you're here, but no." That's
So
what I like. You can get rid of what you don't want to deal with, but put your
yeah.
problem somewhere else. That's kind of how it works.
So I did the exact thing that I did in the world's final, where my brain saw orange tiger, pull all of the fur, build the edge, pull all the fur inside the frame, start with that, realize it's a mistake, then have to move it all out. Exact same thing with the pink blossoms. Edge, pink, pull all of the pink. So literally pulled all of the pink blossoms inside the frame, spent 30 seconds, and as I was doing it, I was telling myself, stop it, stop it. You're doing the tigers again. This is the worst part of the puzzle. Stop it. But because the color popped at me, I was just like, yeah, get them in. Like, maybe they'll go together. And the fact I'm thinking maybe means they're not going to. But no, pulled them all in, realized the error of my ways, then had to pull them all out again. So I was like, well, that's 2 minutes you wasted. Like, plus then I'm in my head that I've just completely gone about this the wrong way. So like I say, I could have definitely utilized the table, but my brain was not with me that day.
Yeah. Well, it was a long day, and you were volunteering
Yeah,
between rounds.
yeah,
Plus, you had um, just before the finals, you did the pairs qualifier
yes,
as well, which you qualified with. So you had a busy day.
yes,
Most most of us, especially I would say the people that finished like in the top 10 for each of the individual round qualifiers, I don't know other than you, was there anyone else that was also volunteering and like putting time and energy into other aspects? I left. I went for like a 2 hour walk around like the lake and stuff that's
yeah,
there. I'm not dedicating any energy or thought brain power to anything. So you had a very busy day.
yeah. And again, I think this is partly because when I signed up, and I remember like messaging Liz back being like, I'm so happy to be there. I'm so grateful. Like, I'm not anticipating doing particularly well. Would you suggest, like, which of the volunteering roles would you suggest? And so I think she suggested registration, which I sort of had said I put that as like my preference for volunteering, and had just put a note to say like, look, happy to do like whatever as long as it doesn't clash with what I'm competing in. Then it comes back like I've been assigned to do the spotting for the first individuals round, which was directly before my individuals round. So yeah, that morning I'd had like accidentally had 2 pints of frappe, then spotted the individual round, then literally had like 15 minutes between, just like ran to the volunteer room, smashed out like a 200-piece practice puzzle just to be like, okay, this is what puzzling is like, and you like get out of the sort of like judging, spotting stress of doing that, get into the stress of doing a puzzle, then back into the room. And then, yeah, as you say, I then had the pairs qualifier, had the individual final, and then I spotted the second pairs qualifier. So it was a very full on day.
Yeah, I will not be volunteering in the near future. Once I'm physically unable to puzzle as fast as I want to, which who knows how long that could be. It could be a couple years, it could be 10 years, who knows? Because I had a hand injury a couple years ago, it's just
Yeah.
at some point my thumb will not be doing what it's supposed to be doing, but at that point I'll volunteer and do the other stuff, but I couldn't imagine even the mindset, like you said, trying to do a 200-piece puzzle.
Yeah.
In the south and second round with you, during the first round, I was out in the parking lot with my table that I brought with me, doing a puzzle outside at 9 o'clock in the freezing cold.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, I want my whole mindset being on this is a 500-piece puzzle. This is how big it is. This is the table size. Remember all of this. And I think it helped
Yeah.
this year. But yeah, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on you finish in 31st.
Yes.
You finish the puzzle, which
Yes.
similar to World's final, good.
Yeah.
More than a quarter of the finalists didn't finish the puzzle. It's not easy.
It's not.
I don't know if you will be attending the Bring Your Own Puzzle event this week with Canadian Speed Puzzlers on Tuesday, where that is the feature puzzle.
I will.
Are you gonna do it before then?
So I did it at a Winnipeg puzzle meet that we had. And I think I did it in, I want to say 69 minutes, but I'm also terrible at remembering my own times. So it was definitely faster than I did it at Nationals. I won't be doing it before Tuesday, but the stack behind me is basically all of my 500-piece first attempt puzzles that I want to do before Spain, and then all of my previous competition puzzles that I want to do before Spain. Well aware there's not enough hours in the day, but I'm going to give it a go.
All the puzzles behind you haven't done?
No.
Oh my God.
This is a suburb of Puzzle City. So in the corner of my apartment, it's called Puzzle City. And that's where I have the puzzles that I have done and the 1,000 pieces that I haven't done. These are the 500s that I did just get a huge European order. So, you know.
I might count you're at 30-something puzzles.
Yeah, there's also the decision bags on the counter as well that have. So yesterday morning, I had 38 500-piece first attempts that I hadn't done. I'm down to 35, so I did manage to do 3 yesterday. So, you know.
Spain is 23 days away. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, it sounds, for someone who might be a bit more casual of a speed puzzler or just a casual puzzler, it does sound like, looking at that, it looks crazy, but no, I'm probably doing 4 to 6 puzzles per day at the moment. Lots of repeats. I think I only have 5 first times left in my pile. With a couple more on the way, but it's very possible to do it. Yeah, okay. Good luck. You do pairs. I'm just gonna go through it really quick. You do pairs with Liz, obviously. You make it to the finals as well.
We were stoked on that because, again, I know Liz wanted to qualify, but again, I just was like, I know, like, I think I got lucky in individuals. I don't see it happening again, and then we did, and I was like, we qualified, yay!
Yeah, you got barely, but you get through to the finals with it. 18th.
Yes.
Top 20 move through, and you got 18th with it. Do you think doing that puzzle, because were you trying to make the finals in the pairs?
Yeah, we wanted to go as fast as we could. But
okay, do you think then that might have had an impact on how because right after was the individual final. Do you think that had any mental impact on it? Because I went the opposite direction. I did the pairs individual final, and then I barely remember anything from the qualifier for the pairs because I was drained after the Pink Nightmare.
Yeah.
Do you think it made an impact on your individual final?
Just mainly in terms of back pain, probably. I mean, I'd been on my feet a lot that day. Like, you know, my lower back I was pre-gaming the ibuprofen, so it was okay. But I think just in terms of, it had been a very full-on day. I don't think it, like, immediately impacted it, but I think definitely, like, puzzle fatigue was kicking in a bit by that point. Of just, you know, I've done quite a few puzzles today, and knowing that we'd sort of, we obviously knew the artists that were up for grabs at this point, and I think we were all hoping it wouldn't be her, especially those of us that had done her 1,000-piece puzzle, especially those of us that had done her 1,000-piece puzzle solo. I think that probably had more of an impact on me than the day, was knowing that I'd done that 1,000-piece on my own, and it was painful. So I was like, this is going to be painful, but it's going to be doable. So let's just do it.
Yeah, that's the one artist I was dreading as an individual final. I did the 1,000 piece one as well, but with a partner, and that's the only puzzle that we've done together where we didn't up. That's not a time we uploaded to myspeedpuzzling.com. We look at each other going, "We're going to pretend this didn't happen." Yep, great. Let's move on and never talk about this ever again.
Yeah.
And let's just hope it doesn't show up for a finals at nationals, and then it does. Although I almost prefer that it. Because imagine that showed up for the pairs finals as a 1,000 piece puzzle.
Yeah, who gets that tree?
Oh my, no one.
No.
No, you just lean your body over top of it and just say we're done.
Yeah,
and when they ask you to move, just go no. Yeah, no. But you make the finals. You 26th out of the 39 teams, which is statistically better than your qualifier round.
Yes.
So you did better. It's an improvement.
Also, distinct disadvantage because Liz was calling everything by its proper name, and I was like, babes, I'm not from Toronto. I don't know what these things are. You're going to have to, like, don't know. What's the pointy one with, like, the ball on top? Like, and I was calling it, like, she was saying, like, streetcar, and I'm like, the train. And, yeah, it was, yeah.
I was doing a puzzle with, practicing with one of my teams I'm not going to be too specific here, but practicing a puzzle with one of my teams. And have you ever seen the World Landmarks puzzle, the 1,000 piece one? It's just a bunch of landmarks all stacked on top of each other from around the world, like the pyramids and other popular Eiffel Tower, just popular landmarks. But there's some lesser known landmarks. But I was practicing with my team, and I kept stating, "Oh, this belongs to this specific landmark, and this belongs to this specific one." And there was some on the team that just wasn't. They didn't know what the different landmarks were. But unless you're really into geography and that type of stuff, why would you know these lesser known ones? And they're just like, that's not helping. But you need general knowledge of other stuff because it's very important to do that. And so having knowledge of others, it can help with it. So I could definitely understand with the Toronto puzzle, you're like, yes, CN Tower, of course, we know that one, but there's the Iron Building, which you might not know what that one is. And
I don't know which one the CN Tower is at. I still don't, if you show me, and I've been to Toronto now, like
the CN Tower.
It's the one with the ball on top. Yeah. Yes. Okay. I would have process of elimination, I would have got that. Streetcar, I now know what a streetcar is, and I've been on one, so would have understood that. And the Toronto sign, I know what that is.
Yes. Which is a real sign that does exist in Toronto.
I've been there.
I'm everything you mentioned, I understand, except for CN Tower. That's a global iconic. Until the Burj Khalifa was built in Dubai, it was the tallest building in the world for a long time. So. That one you should. But the rest of it, no, whatever. We don't have super iconic buildings in Canada.
I mean, show me one of so I did one yesterday of London landmarks, and it's like, I know what like the London Eye is. Trying to think what else is on there. I think the Millennium Dome's on there. I know what that is.
The Shard,
like Westminster Abbey. Oh yeah, Shard's like the gherkin shaped one, and then I'm sure there's like Westminster Abbey and something else, and I'm like, like the brown one, the slightly different brown one. Like I'm not a buildings person. What can I say? Give me a lake and a mountain.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to talk about teams, but you made it to the finals. Just thoughts on the puzzle?
Loved the team's final. Honestly, so of the 3 1,000-piece Canadian collection ones I'd done beforehand, his was my favourite. That collage, I loved it so much. So, and we knew at this point we'd be getting a collage. I was stoked on it. So
this one.
I loved it. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I love this one.
Yeah,
this one is great.
This one.
That is not the same These are not the
Definitely not
same.
the same. Definitely a lot tougher, but just I
But
don't know. I was in the zone.
so this was again practicing with a team. The same thing happened. I was pointing out things on there, like the specific hockey player, like, oh, that's Rocket Richard, and there's Bonhomme de Neige, which is a French, a Quebecois snowman, and pointing at the Parliament buildings. And people on my team were like, we don't know these things. I was like, but this is how it makes it so much easier on where to put pieces.
I did it on my own, and I was like, oh, I made a goose. Oh, there's some maple syrup.
Yes. Yeah. But when we came to this one, at least it was the zebra. We all knew what a zebra, so at least that was a bit easier. It wasn't super rare type of things, but I think you're the first person I've ever heard say, I enjoyed it.
I think I was the only person in the room that was happy. Again, it's because I love the image. Like, something about his collage, I love it. Like, I was into it. I was literally keeping Liz from like going off the edge of her sanity, I think. Like, I was just like, it's just 100 tiny projects. Just think of it like that. And then I was like, maybe 150 tiny projects, maybe 200 tiny projects. Like, and I don't know how or why, but I was so positive the whole way through. And I think if you ask anyone on my team, they will agree that my positivity is what kept us going. Because I was just like, did not let myself get down or frustrated. It was just like, yep, love it. Right, we've got a face. There's a dog. There's another dog. There's another dog. What's this other dog doing here? Like, there's a cat next to it. Where did he come in? Like, just having fun with it.
It's interesting how you're so positive when you're with your team, but you have a very different demeanor when it's an individual. Yeah, when you're doing individual stuff. And yeah, there's a reason we don't have live mics on the Bring Your Own Puzzle events and stuff like that. For not just you, for me as well, because I would be right up there, right up there. And
I do give a disclaimer to everybody that I'm puzzling with or adjacent to that whatever language comes out of my mouth, it is not directed at you. It is at the puzzle or myself. So I apologize for whatever comes out of my mouth, but yeah, it is not directed at any other person other than the puzzle or myself.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the time here. Did you enjoy the Canadian Nationals overall, though?
I loved it. It was so much fun. Everyone there was so friendly, so welcoming. It was, just the absolute best time. I had so much fun.
You plan on attending next year's as well?
Absolutely.
Good. It'll be a bigger event as well in a hockey arena because of course it will be. And yeah, we're going to try and make it as Canadian as possible. You've kind of blended into the Canadian speed puzzling world quite seamlessly. You had Liz there, and now you're part of you do the Canadian Speed Puzzler events and such like that. You've done your first virtual event, which was a couple weekends ago, and did well, second place for
didn't
you.
Do as well as first place.
Pardon?
I said I didn't do as well as first place.
Well, second place is still very commendable, especially for your first one.
Yes.
Which is, and I think it was tough. What I found the toughest with that competition was getting out of the Ravensburger mindset because that's all I've been doing, and suddenly it's large pieces with the matte finish on top of it, different dimensions. Like I did practice the Gallison puzzle that I already had because I knew it was Gallison because of the box shape. Which is not as I haven't figured out what next month's are because the boxes are all normal. So I'm lining up. I've started lining the boxes up against other puzzles I have to see if the box shape matches. I haven't found one yet, but I will continue to do that. I signed up for one in September by accident. I thought I pressed a different one. So I do have a competition in 2 weekends from now before Worlds. So
okay.
not ideal, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're all just coming up. Just really quickly, you're entering all three competitions.
Yeah.
You're still because of the rules, you are still going as a Brit.
So yeah,
But you're not competing under the British flag for anything because no, are you for
yeah. So
individuals?
I'm UK for individuals.
Yeah.
I'm Canadian for teams because there's 3 Canadians and 1 UK on our team. So we're Canadian for teams. Pairs, originally we were Canadian. We then got changed to international.
Yeah.
Somehow in the last week, we've changed back to Canadian. But technically we should be international because we're I'm UK and Liz is Canada. So yeah, we should be international on that, which means we won't qualify for any international head-to-heads if it comes to the country rule this year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Individuals, not really much to talk about with that one. It's going to be what it is. We kind of met like there's the rule changes where there's going to be 2 puzzles to choose from, but you're already practicing that. A lot of people, I think more and more people are starting to practice doing that. Is your goal to make the finals again?
I don't think I stand a hope in hell of making finals this year. Honestly, I think last year, as we discussed, I got through on the technicality. I think I have gotten faster and I am starting to believe that I'm faster. Whereas I think self-doubt is a big thing for me. And I'm like, I'm not really that fast. So, and I am quite fast sometimes. Semi-final, I'll be happy with semi-final. Like, I'll be happy just going and having fun. I'll be happy with semi-finals, like very happy with semi-finals. I don't think I'll make finals, but if I do, it will be a lovely surprise.
That makes me more nervous because our times are very similar on a lot of things. So if you're not confident that you're making the finals and you've already been there, my confidence level is changing drastically as this conversation goes.
Adam. We're gonna make it. We'll be fine.
No, you've already said it. It's out there. So if I don't make it, it's now I know who to
it's my
partially blame. Myself and myself. You are in the pairs events with Liz, like I already mentioned. We are in the same qualifier with that. Tess and I are with you are in the same one, so that will be fun. We also have Megan and Cameron are in our pairs as well. And as we record this, Megan has just won the Eastern Regionals with her partner Caitlin. So congratulations to them. And the individuals is actually underway right now. So okay. There'll be people wondering why we're not commenting on anything as we record this. So yeah, we'll figure that out. So I know we want to get to and see how those results are doing. So I'm just going to kind of go through this last little bit on here. Your team name as well is Can Ux, with UK being you in there, CAN for the Canadians, which I love. When we first, I think one of the first times we spoke at Nationals, you mentioned that was your team. It was you and 3 Canadians. And I did say, oh, your team should be like spelled UK with it. And I'm so glad that you did do that.
We're trying to get them to capitalize the second K, but they won't do it. It's really annoying.
Okay, so yeah, I was wondering why it wasn't, because I was like, it needs to be capital, whatever. So we talked about the Canadian speed puzzlers as well. Do you think that's being a part of that has helped the transition between the 2 countries?
Definitely. So where I've moved to Brandon, Manitoba, which is second biggest city in Manitoba. It's tiny. And yeah, it's really weird. Like, making friends as an adult is hard. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I came to Canada I've got a friend from the States who lives in Vancouver. I've got a friend from the UK who lives in Niagara. And then I had Liz who lived in Toronto. I knew one person in Brandon because I'd bought some photographs from them online and had basically, again, just been like, you're stuck with me now because I'm moving to your city, so you have to talk to me. And so kind of just like pushing myself to get out of my apartment and go and have a drink at my local brewery and talk to people, or go and have breakfast at a local cafe and talk to people. Like, it's so hard to do, like, honestly. And it was kind of like, puzzles was something of when they were like, what do you do? Because obviously I wasn't working, so I didn't have work friends, I didn't have like a job that I could talk about. So like puzzles was kind of like my thing. Yeah. And so yeah, like my local brewery bar is 2-minute walk from my apartment. The owners, Sid and Larissa, are amazing. They're so friendly. They've been so lovely since I've moved here. The regulars in there are fantastic. They're great. That's where I go to do my puzzles, because my apartment is tiny. I have like a little fold out card table that I fold out a piece of foam board on top of, and like balance my laptop on a very precarious counter. And the lighting in here is dreadful. So my puzzle events on Tuesdays and Wednesdays with Canadian speed puzzlers, I go to the pub and I do it there. They love it. I actually like explained everything that I was doing, explained that I was going to nationals. They were like keeping tabs on my results when I was there. They organised a speed puzzle teams competition at the brewery with the local library in June, which was amazing. I was just like, I love that I've like moved to this town like 2 months ago, and now they're like doing puzzle races at my local pub. Like, this is so cool. And then yeah, obviously knowing Liz, getting to know like Devon and Katie and Sophie and Alison and Danielle, and all, Tess, yourself, like all the big names. And then like Rebecca in Winnipeg, she came over for the Brandon competition. We went up and did a competition in Dauphin together. Yeah, Amy also from Winnipeg, who's been coming to a lot of the competitions as well. Like, just getting to know people, it's nice to have a hobby that you can then go and make friends and not feel so like weird and isolated. So it's definitely been a good thing for sure, even in Manitoba.
It is tough as an adult to have to like meet new people, because people have their friendship groups and stuff like that. And I think in Canada, specifically in Canada, it can be even tougher just with the size that the country is. You can't just hop to the next town super easy in a lot of cases. As someone who's bounced around few different countries and stuff, it's tough, because every time you get somewhere new, you have to reset, and it gets harder the older you get. But I'm glad that's working out for you in Manitoba. And yeah, I was going to ask about the library competition as well that you helped to get underway.
It was a teams competition. Originally we'd said that we would just do it for 6 teams, because that's how many tables we had downstairs at the brewery. Michelle at the library got so much interest in it. Her and Marissa were like, right, we'll do 10 teams. We'll do upstairs and downstairs, and we'll put a table in literally the brewing section of the brewery behind the bar that somebody can go on. They had 6 more teams that they had to turn away, because Michelle literally didn't have the puzzles for them to do. And so of course, because I'm like the speed puzzler, everyone's expecting me to like do really well. And I'm like, no, you're discounting the fact that I'm on a team with my husband, who is visiting from the UK, who will do puzzles under duress and does not enjoy them. My friend Chris from town, who hasn't done a puzzle since he was like 5 years old. And my friend Kelly, who has like never done a puzzle in her life. So I'm like, this is not a stacked team. Like, if we get top 3, I'll be stoked, because there's really cute little trophies that Michelle's made. We came in 4th. We came in 4th by 39 seconds. And Craig's reaction was, if I'd known that we get a trophy if we were 40 seconds faster, I would have puzzled a bit harder.
Yep.
No.
It's about having fun, right? Fun's the main goal.
I had so much fun. I really did. And yeah, Kelly enjoyed it. I've now roped her into doing my virtual pairs competitions with me. So yeah, apologies, Kelly, but that's what you're doing for the rest of the year. But yeah, it was really fun. It was a really good time. And just seeing other people like having fun and doing puzzles, I was just like, I love this. Like, I love this.
That's great. And so I'm super glad that you've kind of fit in really well to at least the Canadian puzzle community. You're a great addition to it. It's a very funny addition as well, which is good. It's nice having someone from the UK, because my sense of my family all being from like Scotland and stuff like that, it's there's a very specific type of sense of humor, and it doesn't always translate to Canadians. So it's nice having someone there who's like, oh, okay, the sarcasm and the self-deprecation and all that type of stuff. It's comforting. It makes me feel like I'm back in Scotland again. So that's nice. No, we're closing in on 2 hours here. So thank you for all this time. I'm just going to do a few wrap-up questions now before we go on. Part of what's on this channel is speed puzzling lessons for people trying to get into speed puzzling if they're relatively new or if they're more experienced but just want to see different perspectives of different things. So I ask everyone that I speak to on here, if you have a piece of advice or a challenge for me or something like that I could feature in a upcoming speed puzzling 101 lesson.
Okay. So I've thought long and hard about this, and this is actually something that the girl next to me in the world's final said to me in advance, and she was like, I'm really sorry if I start dancing, just ignore me. And I was like, okay, didn't really think anything of it. And she was going, she was vibing, she was having a great time, she was way faster than me, and I hadn't really thought about it again until the team's final at nationals. And at one point, I was like, I am legitimate. And it was because I just had such bad backache. And if I sat down, it hurt. If I stood up, it hurt. So I was basically just like twerking by the table. And I was like, ladies, I've never twerked in my life. And right now I am twerking my way through this puzzle and it's working. Twerking is working. This is okay. So Adam, my challenge to you is just, maybe in your flip and sort, maybe if you feel like you're getting a bit stuck at a point in a puzzle, just have a little dance. Stand up, loosen up, have a little dance, see how it goes. See how it might be a game changer.
I'm gonna see how I will try anything. I'll see how I can incorporate that into an upcoming Speed Puzzling 101 lesson. I have an idea with it. I don't think I'll be twerking at any point in the video.
Do it in Walk in the Rain. When you get to those pink blossoms, just let it go.
Will that balance out the tears that I'll have on?
It will. It will.
Yeah,
it will hide.
Party in the back, sadness in the front. As we go through. So, okay, great. So I'm just going to wrap up with some quick fire questions that I've sent to you in advance with them. Just answer the best you can as we go through them. And yeah, we'll end with this. Your favorite brand of puzzles?
Currently, Ravensburger, because I'm locked in for Worlds.
Your favorite piece count?
Used to be thousands, then was 500s. Now I quite like a 300. Just if I'm feeling a bit slow one day, throw a 300 out and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm okay. Go back to a 500. Suddenly it doesn't seem so bad. So yeah.
Okay. Your favorite cut style?
Ribbon cut, normal. Give me a normal puzzle.
Yep. Yeah. Not a lot of people say random.
I hate
your favorite speed puzzle event to partake in?
So I like teams for the lulz, just for the vibes, for having a good time, for having fun. But I also like individuals because I like to it's on me and I know it's on me. And if I do well or if I do badly, it's all on me. And there's no getting away from that accountability. So I do like individuals as well.
That's not the answer I predicted before this.
Okay.
I thought you were going to say Puzzle Chicken.
Oh, come on. I didn't even think of Puzzle Chicken. Obviously, it's Puzzle Chicken. Okay, yeah. Puzzle Chicken, teams, individuals.
Okay. Your favorite puzzle that you've ever done?
So the first speed puzzle that I did, the one that I got from the charity shop, it's a guinea pig holding a beach ball on a white sand beach with a solid blue sky. I think it's called Beach Boy. Foolishly, I redonated it to the charity shop, so I no longer have it. My auntie in the UK just found it on Vinted and bought it for me. I am stoked. So I get to be reunited with Beach Boy at Worlds this year.
I'm so glad you found it. I remember when you posted that right after Nationals, I think,
Yeah.
looking for it. I think I spent hours online trying to see if I could find it
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
And other than a couple people in Germany, I think, selling it, I
Yeah.
couldn't find it.
I got blocked
Um,
from that German website. They blocked me for suspicious activity. I was like, well, I just messaged them and asked if they shipped to Canada.
yeah. It was actually 300 messages asking if there was shipping.
Please, please, please.
Your favorite puzzler?
Gonna say Devon, because she's so encouraging, like, and she just always looks like she's having a good time. Like, I've never seen her look like she's having a bad time while she's doing a puzzle.
Yeah, she looks focused, but
Yeah,
she's enjoying herself as well.
yeah.
Um, your favorite, the hardest puzzle that you've ever done.
Okay, so this is a very specific puzzle. Ironically, it is Canada, Mountain Lake in winter. It's a 1,000-piece Ravensburger. It's a mountain lake in winter. So it's, halfway through, you've got the reflection, you've got dark trees, mountain, lake. The top part is slightly out of focus. So the reflection, it broke my brain, Adam. It took me just under 6 hours. It's the only puzzle I have ever had to actually stop, go to bed, get back up the next day, because I thought that 4 hours was going to be enough time. It got to like 3.5 hours, and I was like, insanity. So yeah, no, never again. That one went back to the charity shop with glee. So yes.
I've had a few 1,000-piece puzzles that have gotten up to like the 8, 9, 10 hour mark, and it's just no.
Yeah.
Your least favorite puzzle design to see, like fur, flowers, that type, like aspect.
It's like, it sounds really weird, but there's not like one specific thing that I dread. Like, I think because I've trained myself to get better at fur, I've trained myself to get better at flowers. Like, circles, I really struggle with circles. So just in terms of like, if there's a lot of like lines and lining them up, like circles and like grids break my brain a bit. So like that greenhouse one where you've got like all the griddy ceiling, and I think Katie was saying about like bicycle wheels not making sense to her. Totally there with that. So yeah, just if there was a puzzle just of bicycle wheels, I'm out.
That's yeah. Your favorite puzzle moment that you've ever had?
Finishing worlds with 11 seconds to spare.
That's a fair one.
Yeah.
I thought, yeah, that's what I thought you'd say, that or your TV appearance. It
Yeah.
was tight between the two. Your favorite way to get new puzzles?
So in the UK, it was charity shops. In Canada, thrift shops, not doing it so much for me here. They're not as great. I did just do a huge order from European Jigsaw Jam. Didn't order any of their competitions because I didn't think to do that at the same time, even though they'd like just announced them. So that was really dumb. But yeah, they're a really good way of getting the European releases. And I ordered from them in the UK a couple of times as well prior to moving here, because I could get some puzzles through them that I couldn't get on the Ravensburger site over there. So, and also there's a Ravensburger outlet in Bridgend, Wales, which is great, which I only discovered 2 months before I left the country. So yeah, that was a
That's
sad.
good. And then they ship to Canada. That's good as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then final question, a dream puzzle that you've not done but wish you could.
So I don't have one of these. So I'm open to suggestions, but I did hear Tess saying that hers was that, what's it called? Boston to blah, blah, blah. I have that puzzle. I didn't realize that was I still in the cellophane. Like, I didn't realize that was like a hard puzzle to get hold of.
That's such a hard puzzle to get a hold of.
Oh, it's in Puzzle City in the corner. But yeah, so I'm now going to, like, that puzzle's getting added to this stack of puzzles I'm doing before Worlds, because I did not realize that that was like a sought after puzzle. I was like, oh, okay.
So that's the Paris final from 2 years ago from Worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Barely anyone finished it.
Yeah.
Like even Karen Puzzles barely got through it, and they finished in 4th or 5th or something. It's one of the toughest puzzles that's ever been at Worlds. there's no way it will show up again this
Yeah.
year. It'll never show up again ever. But
Yeah.
because Ravensburger doesn't even print it anymore. It was a
Yeah.
one or twice print, and then that was it, done. So
Yeah.
you can find some online, but they're like $100 and something. I'm not paying that. Yeah, super hard to find.
Yeah, I
To
must
find
admit,
those.
I think that the only reason I got it was after Worlds, I was ordering some of the Worlds puzzles that I hadn't got while I was there. And I think it was literally, I just needed to add like another puzzle to bump me up to free shipping from Ravensburger. So I just added that one to the mix. Like, oh, it was in Worlds the year before. I'll just add that one in. Like, so.
Pick one of the rarest puzzles there is. There was some that were released last year at Worlds that people could purchase, and I heard it was like a stampede to get the very few copies that they
Yeah.
had. Maybe they'll put some more back out this year.
Yeah.
If they
See,
do,
I'm just
they'll be gone.
oblivious to all of
Yeah,
this. Like,
yeah, all the background stuff of the puzzle world that people don't don't see that goes into it. But no, that's a good choice, and you have it, so you'll be
yeah.
able to do that as well. Yeah, most people pick like the big like 40,000 piece puzzles. That when do people have space for those types of things? But
I did a 5,000 piece once and it's just sitting in the corner now waiting. I'm somehow going to get it to Katie for her to do because I'm never doing it again. Like, it's just too much. It's just too much.
that's the Pokemon one.
Yes, yes, it is.
So Katie's episode was released just before this. We started recording this one, and that is the puzzle that she mentioned as her dream puzzle.
Yeah.
With the 5,000 Pokemon
I meant
Ravensburger.
to take it to Toronto when I went over to drop Craig to the airport recently so that it could then go to Liz, and it could then go to Devon, it could then go to Katie, and I completely forgot to put it in my car. So yeah, but somehow it's going to make its way to her because it's missing 5 pieces in the top corner, but you know, it's still there. I have no use for it anymore. So
Yeah. No, that's everything. That's again these conversations. I always plan for them to take a certain period of time, but they always seem to go longer than planned. But everyone, is yourself included, just speaks so well and has so many interesting stories and stuff to tell. So thank you so much for being a part of this, being my first international guest in Canada, which is great. But yeah, thank you so much, Kirsty.
No, this has been awesome.
And yeah, I'll see you in a few weeks at Worlds, and I'll be probably messaging you right after this anyways, as we look to see how the Eastern Regional people are doing.
Absolutely.
The puzzling stuff never stops for us, does it?
It really doesn't.
No. Thank you again. Thanks so much. And we'll speak soon.
Thank you.